everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a reading vlog where I finally read some of the more snowy, wintry books on my TBR. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit bunged up, that's because I am. I had a cold about a month ago and I seem to have got another one already. I think it's because it's all of a sudden got super cold in England. It's been snowing, I've had to defrost my car almost every day, and yeah, it's just absolutely freezing. So I thought I would try and get a little bit more into the winter weather by reading some books that I've had on my TBR for a long time that I've been saving for this time of year. Basically any kind of book that has snow on the cover, mentions that it's set in winter. So I've managed to pick out 5 books that I own physically that appear to be set in winter, and then I've also found another 6 on my Kindle. So I'm just going to quickly run through them because I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be reading in this vlog yet. I'm going to kind of pick from this list that I've made depending on what I feel like. So the first one that I'm definitely going to read, I think, is Reservoir 13 by John McGregor. This was recommended to me by Amelia Barlow Books on YouTube. I actually managed to find this in a charity shop for 75p. So it was very lucky. Now I don't know if this book is entirely set in winter, but the back of the book says that it starts in the early years of this century in midwinter. A teenage girl on holiday has gone missing in the hills at the heart of England, and basically it follows the search for this missing girl, but also the everyday lives that have to carry on as she's still missing. And I really love books that follow different perspectives following the aftermath of an event and how it affects everybody. Since this is set over a long period of time, I'm guessing that it's set in multiple seasons, but it does start in midwinter, so this might be a good break when I'm a bit fed up of reading about snow and experiencing snow in real life. The other one that I'm definitely going to try and read is Eileen by Tessa Moshfegh. As you can see, this is very snowy on the cover, and I believe that this is set in the run-up to Christmas. So in this book, we're following a character called Eileen who I think struggles with an alcoholic father, and then she meets this woman who she ends up getting obsessed with, and I don't really know much more than that, but I think I'm going to start reading this one first. I have read one Tessa Moshfegh book before. I read Lapvona and I didn't like it at all. I gave it 2 stars. Maybe even 1, I can't remember. So I've always been a bit unsure as to whether I'm going to like this, but I feel like this tends to be a lot of people's favourites from her. So if I don't like this, then I'm probably going to give up on her as an author, but I thought I would give her another chance. I do have 3 other books physically that appear to be set in colder weather. The first one is Bensound by Frederick Backman. I think this would be quite similar to Reservoir 13 actually, because this is also following some sort of tragedy or crime, I'm not sure, and then the aftermath of this. And it's set in a Swedish village, which is, oh yeah, for most of the year it's under a thick blanket of snow, experiencing the kind of cold and dark that brings people closer together or pulls them apart. Yeah, this could be a good one, but I feel like it might be a bit too similar to Reservoir 13. I'll see how I feel. And then I have 2 thrillers here which mention ice and snow. So the first one is The Split by Sharon Bolton. And I've heard that this one is very exciting, very fast paced, so this might be a good option. And then the other one that I have is 13 Minutes by Sarah Pinborough, which I think is a YA novel where our main character, I think somebody tries to kill her by drowning her in icy water. So that's the only inkling that I have that this is set in winter, but this would probably be quite fun and like not very serious if I'm in a bit of a slumpy mood. And then the other ones that I have on my Kindle are Orbiting Jupiter by Gary D. Schmidt. This is a YA novella which is about a guy who I think has a daughter called Jupiter and he's trying to be reunited with her. The cover just looks very snowy. I don't really know anything else about it, but I've heard that it's very sad, emotional, but also it's very quick, so that might be a good one to fit in. The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett. I will definitely be reading that this year. I might save it till a little bit closer to Christmas though, but yeah, this obviously is set during Christmas and has snow on the cover. My next 2 I think have sort of similar vibes. So the first one is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wabgeshig Rice. This is about a community that are experiencing some kind of post-apocalyptic situation, and this group try and come into their community and I think start exploiting them. It's meant to be very quiet and kind of slow moving, but it does have snow in the title, so that could be an option as well. And then the second one is Migrations, which I think again is like a post-apocalyptic story, and I think it's a lot about animals going extinct and things, and I think again it's set in like Antarctica or something like that. I think those two might be quite similar to another book that I've read recently called How We Go in the Dark. So I'm not sure if I'm going to read those straight away. Maybe I'll be in the mood for something like that again. Another thriller that I have on my Kindle is These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. This is about a father-daughter duo. I think they live in this very isolated town, and I think it's set in winter where they're waiting for some supplies, and I don't really know what happens, but I think it's like a mystery thriller. And then the last one I have is called In an Instant by Suzanne Redfern. I think this is about somebody who dies in a car accident and they're kind of stuck in limbo, and I think it follows the people around them and how it affects them. I'm guessing this is set during the winter because the cover is quite snowy. That's the list of books that I have to pick from, but I'm now going to make some soup for my dinner, have a cup of tea I think, because I feel so bunged up. I've got to go to work in like an hour. So pray for all those people that are going to have to interact with me today. But yeah, I'm going to try and start reading Eileen tonight, and I will give you a bit of an early update about what this book is actually about and how I'm feeling about it. So I will see you then. Hi everyone, so it's now a few days later. I finally got a small chunk of the way through Eileen, so I thought I would just give you a little update as to what it's actually about. So I'm now up to page 87, which is the start of a chapter called Monday. I'm enjoying it a lot more than Lapvona, which I think was told in third person, but it was following different characters, and it was also this medieval setting, and I think it just didn't work for me. This one is much more suited to me. It's set in the 60s and it's set in this really cold, freezing town in America, and there is definitely lots of talk about it being cold, about it being icy. Eileen is a very odd, interesting character. She's kind of described as being very drab and quite dreary, and nobody really pays any attention to her. She has this job in a prison and she fantasizes over one of the guards who pretty much doesn't really know who she is. She lives with her alcoholic father and the house is just a bit grotty and gross. And so far we've just been following Eileen as she's kind of miserable and she feels very sorry for herself, but she doesn't really do anything to help herself either, so she's kind of annoying to read about. And we've not actually got to the point yet where she's met this Rebecca who she ends up getting obsessed with, and I am kind of ready for it to get to that point now because I've had enough of just reading about Eileen and her miserable life. I feel like it needs a little bit more plot going on. I can't wait for it to get a little bit crazy and unhinged. I will admit that it's not the most compelling book, as in I've not really been dying to pick it up. I've been forcing myself to read little bits of it, and because there's not much plot so far, I think I'm just waiting for it to pick up a little bit. We've had quite a long like introduction into Eileen and her life, and I'm now ready for it to, you know, start going somewhere. I will let you know when I get a little bit further in. I think I'm about a third of the way in, so maybe I'll check in at like the 2/3 mark and see how it's going. But for now, I'm going to film another video and I'm going to start planning my December content because even though it's like the 8th of December, I really want to actually do a schedule because I've not used my bullet journal in a really long time. I'm gonna do a bit of planning and fit in some time where I can actually do some videos because I want to do all the like best books of the year, worst books of the year, that kind of stuff. I've got a couple of vlogs that I want to film, so yeah, I'm going to do some planning for that and hopefully actually stick to it. I'm going to try and read another big chunk of this today. I've got a few days off now. I think I'm off till Monday and it's Friday today, so yeah, I'll speak to you very soon. Hi guys, so it's a little bit later on. I've done a little bit of work in my bullet journal, but this is the bit that's fun. So I decided to do a little content planner, and whilst I was doing my bullet journal, I realised, I don't know, basically I had this piece of paper printed out with 12 books on it. It was my favourite book from every month of 2022. And I printed that out last December or January or whatever, and I've still not stuck them into my bullet journal, and I don't know how I've managed to keep this paper for a year. But I finally went back to that page and I finally stuck all the books in. So I've cut them out, used a little, used a little glue roller thing, which is actually, oh, there's a hair on it already. Look, cat hair. Which is actually really fun to use. It's just a little roller and you roll like the back of the paper and then stick it down. Yeah, I just think that looks really, really cute. So maybe I'll do it for this year as well. Or maybe I'll just save it for 2024 when I do my new spreads for next year and actually start using it again, because it's just nice, it's therapeutic, it's relaxing, and it's a way to be creative for somebody who isn't very creative. I just wanted to show you that because I'm dead proud of myself. I've been neglecting this journal for so long. So yeah, I'm gonna get into that. That's another one of my goals for the end of the month and for next year. That's all I wanted to say. I'll speak to you when I've done a little bit of reading. But first, I think I want to play the demo for this bed we made because I just reminded myself that this game exists when I was filming my latest video just then. But this is about a hotel and you play as a maid, and I think your job is to solve this mystery and you get to like snoop through people's rooms and stuff, and it looks really fun. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to read some more later on, and then I'll update you when I get to the 2/3 mark.
Hi everyone, so it's now a few days later and I've still not finished Eileen. I am very close to the end though. I think I have about 50 pages left. So I feel like this book has never properly gripped me. Like there's not really been much that's making me want to keep reading. It's very sort of slow, medium paced. There's not really a lot going on. That's kind of it. It's very like, is it called slice of life? Not a lot has happened basically. And we're now coming up to the climax of the book, like the ending. And initially I was thinking, oh, something really like juicy is going to happen, something really dark and mad. And I don't really have faith in it to do that anymore. Like I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I feel like it's going to be pretty underwhelming. I think I expected this book to be a little more mad and twisted than it is. It's kind of tame. I don't know. Eileen is a bit of a bizarre person, but there's nothing that's happened that's been like shocking or really what I expected it to be. I thought this was going to be like super obsessive, very like unhinged, and I just don't feel like I'm getting that really. I think I was expecting Eileen to be a little bit more volatile as a character and to do a little bit more than she is currently doing. So I'm going to see how the last 50 pages go, but for now I'm feeling like it's a 2.5 3-star book. I've struggled to read anything more than like 20 pages at a time. I'm having to like force myself to get through it now, and yeah, it's not really gonna leave a lasting impression on me. So hopefully the ending is kind of explosive and fun and everything that I thought this whole book would be, but honestly I don't have high hopes. I'm gonna sit down with a snack, just power through it, and then I'll update you with what my final thoughts are, and then I'm going to start reading. Maybe I'll read a thriller. I'll have a look and decide what I want to read. So yeah, I'll speak to you very, very soon. Hi everyone, so I've now finished Eileen, finally. I think I'm going to give this book like a 2.5 star rating. It definitely got a little bit more exciting in the last like 40-50 pages, but that was the only time that it kind of excited me, and even then I still put it down at some point to like do something else. I liked how it ended and I liked how sort of dark and disturbing it got, but I just feel like the rest of the book was just such a slow burn and I was so bored for some parts of it. I found it really difficult to want to pick it up and to get through it. I don't know, I think it's just that I don't get on with Atessa Moshfegh's writing style for some reason, because I felt this way with Lapvona. I could only read like 10 pages at a time and I would just be so bored. I said that I wanted to read Eileen and that would be the deciding factor as to whether I continue reading Atessa Moshfegh books, and yeah, I just don't think that I want to read anymore because I just don't think they're for me. So I enjoyed it more than Lapvona. It's somewhere between like a 2.5 and a 3-star. The ending definitely sort of lifts it up a bit. It's kind of exhausting being in Eileen's head this whole time because she's very self-deprecating, very miserable, woe is me. I'm kind of relieved to have finished it and to no longer have to be in her head and to read something a little bit different. I'm not sure what I'm going to read next. I think, let me grab the 2 thrillers that I have. I might read one of these 2 next just because I want something that's fast-paced, quick, fun. Okay, so do I want YA or do I want adult? I feel like I would more likely read this in summer because I like a YA thriller during like warm weather, whereas I feel like I would only exclusively read this in winter. So I'm gonna give this one a go and hopefully I enjoy it a little bit more than Eileen. So this one is about a woman called Felicity Lloyd who fled England to a remote island, escaping her past and the man she once loved. However, Freddie Lloyd, who I'm guessing is like ex-husband, has served time for murder and now he wants her back. Wherever she is, he won't stop until he finds her. Will he be able to track her to the ends of the earth? So this book is set, I think, in Antarctica, and she flees to this like isolated cold island. So I will probably update you tomorrow afternoon just before I go to work and let you know what my initial thoughts are and how far I've got in and things like that. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good morning. It is now the next day. I don't start work until 2 o'clock today and it's currently about 12. So I've just spent the morning reading The Split, and I did start it last night as well. But I'm really enjoying this one so far. It is basically about this woman, Felicity, who is a glaciologist, and she's on this like 2-year trip in South Georgia, and she's just there studying the ice and doing all these dives and stuff. So that was really fun to read at the start. But then she's obviously got this past with this guy called Freddie. It's kind of vague at the minute what their relationship was. So Freddie, whoever he is, has basically seen an article about her in the paper saying where she's going to be working. He decides to go and find her basically, and she does not want to be found. So it starts off as like a bit of a cat and mouse, and we're following both Freddie and Felicity's perspectives. And then we got to part 2 quite early. I think it was about page 60 or 70. There was a little bit of a twist, and we're suddenly following a different timeline, completely different setting, and it's set in the summer. So that's actually been really fun because I've had like the first bit of it completely like icy, cold, very descriptive. I can picture this island very well. But then we've also got this English heatwave setting, which has actually been really nice just to remember heat waves and it actually being warm and sunny. But we are following lots of different character perspectives, which I'm enjoying. I feel like there's a lot of mysteries going on, there's a lot of intrigue, and I'm definitely feeling much more compelled to pick this book up than I was Eileen. So I'm going to try and squeeze another maybe 50 pages in before I go to work, or just however far I can get in really. There's also quite a lot of creepiness, suspense going on where we're not sure if these characters are being watched by other people. So I'm excited to see where it goes next because I wasn't expecting that change in like setting and timeline. I will speak to you maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow with an update and see how far I've got in. Good morning again. So it's now the next day and I've been flying through The Split by Sharon Bolton. I am now at page 252. So I managed to find the audiobook on Spotify actually, which I've never used before for audiobooks, and I'm really enjoying it. It's fun, it's gripping, it's keeping me very interested. I kind of just want to listen to it and read it all the time. So I'm around the 2/3 mark now, and we've actually stayed in part 2. So we've stayed in this like flashback state for basically the entire book so far, other than those first 60-70 pages, which I'm quite surprised at, but I'm enjoying it. But it does mean that the snowy atmosphere has been gone for that long. We're actually in like English summertime, June, July. So that's been kind of nice, but yeah, I didn't realise that when I went into it, or I probably would have not read this book for this video. But I'm assuming that we're going to do some sort of flash forward near the end and see how that storyline's going to wrap up. There's a lot of focus in this book about amnesia, mental health, therapy. Sometimes I find it a little bit funny, like is amnesia kind of an overused trope? Possibly, but I'm actually kind of enjoying the mystery of it and waiting to see what happens. So I'm gonna keep reading this before I go to work. Hopefully I'll finish it maybe tonight if I'm lucky. So I will check in with you probably tomorrow and let you know my final thoughts. Hi everyone, so it's now the next day and I finished The Split by Sharon Bolton. I listened to quite a lot of it on audio yesterday and then I managed to finish it before I went to bed, and I'm not sure about this one because I read it pretty quick, I was really into it, but the big twist at the end was very predictable. I'm not sure if it's a case of where the reader's meant to know before the characters do, but it was revealed as like the last line of a chapter and I literally was just like, come on, get it over with, like we already know, like it's been kind of obvious that that's what's happening. It also features a trope that is a little bit controversial. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. You can probably put 2 and 2 together based on what I said yesterday, and I can't really say whether it's an accurate representation because I don't know enough about it, but I don't know, it just left me feeling a bit weird and a bit like cop-outy. There was quite a lot of like action scenes at the end when it's meant to be like all coming together set in the Antarctic again, and I feel like it dragged on a little bit and I was just sort of waiting for it to end at that point. I already knew how the story was going to wrap up, although it does get kind of dark, disturbing. Like some of the reveals in this are quite like, whoa, I wasn't expecting it to go there. But yeah, the main one kind of predictable, a little bit iffy. Like, I think some people will love it, some people will hate it. So I feel like I'm maybe settling on like a 3-star, because I did always want to read it, but now I'm thinking about some of the things in this book and I'm like, something else has just cropped up. There's like a bit of a romance in here that is a bit questionable. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd like widely recommend it, but it was fun enough while I was reading it and while I was listening to it. But I thought I would enjoy it a bit more. I don't know how I feel. But yeah, that one's done. And I've now started reading another book. So just to keep you updated with the TBR for this video, I've decided not to read Reservoir 13 now because it's meant to be quite a slow moving, reflective book. And although some of it is set in the winter, it does go through different seasons over like 13 years. So I don't feel like it fits this video, and I'm not going to force it if I'm not totally in the mood to read it, which I'm not. So I'm going to save that for another time. And because with the split, we started off in the Antarctic, we ended in the Antarctic, but for most of the middle section of the book we are in Cambridge in the summer. So I kind of want to read something that's very snowy, icy, because that's what I was expecting from this book and I didn't get it. So instead I'm going to read Migration by Charlotte McConney, I think. I've got it on my Kindle, and whereas this one is set in Antarctic, Migration is set in Antarctica. So we started off in Greenland, and it's about this woman who's basically trying to track the last migration of these birds, which are possibly going to be going extinct. And basically, I think it's set in a future society, like a near future society, where a lot of animals have gone extinct, the planet's a lot warmer, and it's probably going to be quite sad. But I think I'm in the mood for something kind of sad, and already I'm like 4% in. I read a bit while I was in the bath and I really like the setting. I'm finding that I've read quite a few books recently about a woman who has kind of escaped normal life to go and work somewhere really freezing cold and do like sciencey things. And I'm actually finding it very, very interesting. So part of me's like, oh, maybe I should organise a trip out to a really freezing cold place in the world where I would never have thought to have gone before. But in Migration, she's writing to her husband that I think she's like left behind, and he wants her to come home, but she's very passionate about what she's doing and wants to stay out there. And hopefully it'll make me cry, hopefully it'll be really sad and dreary and depressing. So I'm gonna go read some more of it now, and I will check in with you probably tomorrow when I wake up from my night shift, or maybe Sunday, depending on how much I sleep. Hi guys, so today is Sunday and I'm still only 33% of the way through Migrations. At the minute it's showing that I've got 3 hours and 43 minutes left. Actually, it's not Sunday, it's Monday. So that just confused me. This is the day I wanted to put the video up, so that's fine. But yeah, it's Monday. So I've got the day to myself, so I would really like to finish this book, finish editing the video and get it up tonight if possible. But that means I need to finish the book to actually tell you what I thought of it. So let me try and tell you what this book is about. So we're following this woman called Franny, and she is, I don't think she's like a professional at what she's doing, but she's really interested in these Arctic terns, which are these kinds of birds. And it is set in a near future society where basically animals have just gone extinct, like so many different kinds of animals, and the seas have been overfished, so there's a fishing crisis. So these birds basically go right from Antarctica and they migrate all the way down south to the Antarctic and make their way back up within a year. And this is believed to be their last migration, and they might not even make it the whole way. So she's basically in Greenland hoping to find these birds and also to convince somebody with a boat to follow the birds so that she can watch them the whole way. To be fair, if you'd have told me last year that this is a book that I would be interested in reading, I would probably have laughed in your face, because I know that sounds kind of boring, but this is a lot about nature and the sadness of a world without animals. And we've also got a little bit of a found family situation with Franny, who's going to be travelling on this boat with a group of fishermen, and she's really against fishing. So there's that kind of hypocrisy. And then there's been a lot of lines in this book that I've highlighted because they've just made me feel very emotional. It's just a nice book, but I feel like it's going to be pretty sad because I feel like it's just not going to have a good ending, because that's the way that it's sort of leading us. I'm just going to sit here in my PJs, cozy up with my little, whatever these are called. It's like a big hoodie thing that goes down to your knees, but I'm just going to use it as like a a little pillow. So I'm going to finish this today. I'm going to check in with you at some point. So I will speak to you in a few hours when I'm a bit further along. Hello everybody, it's now a few hours later. I have moved, I made myself a cup of tea, but other than that I've pretty much just been sat here reading this book, and I'm now almost at the 2/3 mark, so I thought I would just update you. I'm still loving it. I have teared up at one thing, so I feel like the ending's probably going to hit me whatever happens. And we're also, I forgot to mention, getting flashbacks from Franny's life when she was a child, and also how she met her husband and things like that. There's not one timeline that I'm not liking, so I'm enjoying just all of it as a whole, and I really love the writing, the way that it's describing nature and the sea, and just a love of animals is just very, very lovely. I just really want to go for a walk right now and just sort of be with the world. I know that sounds very cringy, and I'm not going to go outside because it's raining and it's grey, but I do feel very like, I don't know, just happy to be alive in a way which, yeah, sounds bizarre. So it's showing an hour and 52 minutes. So yeah, that'll take me to around 4 o'clock. I will check in with you for the final check-in and let you know my final thoughts. If I start crying, I will film it just for my own embarrassment. So I finished it, but I think I'm going to give it like 4.5 stars. It was very beautifully written. There's so many quotes that I love, and it's just made me very emotional. My only thing is that I think it was a little bit quick at the end, the epilogue. I wish it like fleshed it out a bit more, but that's the only thing. I'm gonna sort myself out and try and edit this video as quickly as possible. So I'm glad that I really enjoyed Migrations, because obviously Eileen was maybe like a 2.5, and The Split was also kind of 2.5, 3 stars. Even though I had a more enjoyable time reading it, it had some, I don't know, questionable tropes and just a bit of a letdown of an ending. But yeah, this one was very, very good. I would definitely recommend it. All of these books definitely had very good snowy, cold weather vibes. The Split probably not as good as the others because we didn't get to see as much of it. But I would definitely recommend Migrations if you like books that are about climate change, animal conservation, found family. There's a bit of a mystery as well about her past, a bit of a love story. There's a bit of everything in there, and yeah, it was really, really good. So I'm now gonna go. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!